Welcome back to the channel, US Rare Coins News, Top 1. Today we are looking at a quarter that most people ignore, but some of these coins have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And the craziest part is, you might already have one in your pocket. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot the rare 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter, the hidden errors collectors hunt for, and what separates a 25-cent coin from one worth serious money. Take a close look at this coin. You'll notice right away it's different. Instead of a single year, it shows 1776 to 1976. That's because this quarter was made to celebrate 200 years of American independence. It's called the Bicentennial Quarter, and it features George Washington on the front, just like regular quarters, but flip it over, and this is where things get interesting. Instead of the usual eagle, you'll see a colonial drummer, a torch, and 13 stars. That design was created by Jack L. Ahr, and it instantly makes this coin stand out. It's one of the most recognizable quarters ever made. Now here's where most people get it wrong. They think because it's old looking, it must be rare. But millions of these were made in United States, so most of them are only worth face value. That's the twist, but not all of them. Some versions of this coin are extremely collectible, and it all comes down to small details that most people completely miss. Let's start with mint marks. Look closely near Washington's ponytail. You might see a small D and S, or no mark at all. That tells you where it was made. Coins from San Francisco, especially the silver ones, are where things start getting valuable. Now here's something most people don't know. Some bicentennial quarters were struck in 40% silver. These were not released into everyday circulation the same way as regular coins. If you find one of these in great condition, you're already holding something special. And then, there are errors. This is where things get exciting. There are quarters with double die errors, where the lettering or design looks slightly doubled. There are off-center strikes, where the coin design is shifted. And there are even coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal itself is unusual. Imagine pulling a quarter from your change, and noticing something just a little off. That tiny detail could turn a common coin into a collector's dream. Here's a moment to pause and really look at your own coins. Have you ever checked them this closely? Now let's talk condition, because this is where the value can jump fast. A worn bicentennial quarter might still be worth just 25 cents. But a coin in uncirculated condition, with sharp details and no wear, can sell for much more. And if it's a silver version or has a clear error, the price climbs even higher. Some high-grade examples have sold for over $100. Rare error coins or pristine silver proofs can go into the several $100 range, and in exceptional cases, even more at auction. So yes, that quarter in your drawer could actually be worth real money, but only if you know what to look for. And here's the fun part. These coins are still out there. People spend them every day without realizing what they have. So let me ask you, do you own a 1776 to 1976 quarter? Have you ever checked it closely for errors or silver content? And if you could add any rare coin to your collection, which one would it be? That's what makes coin collecting so addictive. The treasure hunt never really ends. To wrap it up, the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter might look common, but hidden among millions are coins with unique features, silver content, and rare errors that collectors are willing to pay for. It all comes down to details, condition, and a sharp eye. Top 2. Today we are looking at a quarter that most people think is completely ordinary, but a few of these 1966 Washington quarters have quietly sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, and almost nobody notices them. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you exactly what makes this coin special, the hidden errors collectors are hunting for, and how one small detail can turn a simple 25-cent coin into something seriously valuable. Take a close look at the 1966 Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks just like any other U.S. quarter. You've got George Washington on the front, facing left, with the word Liberty above and the date 1966 below. Clean. Familiar. Easy to overlook. Now flip it over. You'll see the classic eagle design, wings spread wide, arrows in its claws, and olive branches below. Around it, United States of America, and $quarter. Nothing unusual, right? But here's where the story changes. In 1966, something very unusual happened at the United States Mint. They removed mint marks completely. No D, no S, nothing. It didn't matter where the coin was made, every 1966 quarter looks the same, and that single decision created a mystery that still confuses collectors today, because without mint marks, identifying rare varieties becomes harder, and that means some valuable coins slip through unnoticed. Now let's talk about what actually makes a 1966 quarter valuable. First, condition is everything. Most of these coins were heavily circulated. They've been in pockets, vending machines, cash registers. So finding one in sharp, uncirculated condition is already rare. Look for strong details in Washington's hair, a clean cheek, and no scratches. On the back, the eagle's feathers should look crisp and full. If you've got one like that, you're already ahead of most people, but now comes the part most collectors get excited about: errors. Some 1966 quarters show doubling in the lettering or numbers. Look closely at Liberty and the date. If the letters look slightly doubled or shadowed, you might have a double die error. It's subtle, so a magnifying glass really helps here. There are also off-center strikes. Imagine the design slightly shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. Those are instantly noticeable and very collectible, and then there are wrong planchet errors. This is where things get wild. A quarter accidentally struck on metal meant for another coin. The weight feels off. The color looks different. It doesn't feel like a normal quarter anymore. If you ever find one like that, don't spend it. Here's something a lot of people don't realize. 1966 was right after the US stopped using silver in regular quarters. So these coins are made of copper nickel, not silver. But every once in a while, a transitional error shows up, a 1966 quarter struck on a silver planchet. Those are extremely rare, and yes, they've sold for serious money. Now imagine this. You're going through your change. You see a 1966 quarter. You almost ignore it, but then you notice something slightly off. Maybe the shine is different. Maybe the strike looks unusual. That moment, that second look, that's where collectors find hidden value. So take a second right now and think. When was the last time you actually checked your coins this closely? Let's talk real numbers. A typical 1966 quarter in worn condition is still worth face value, about 25 cents. Nothing special, but an uncirculated example with strong details can sell for $10 to $30, sometimes more depending on quality. High-grade coins graded by professionals can reach over $100. Error coins are where the real jump happens. Off-center strikes or clear double dies can sell for $100 to $500 depending on how dramatic they are, and rare wrong planchet or silver transitional errors, those can go into the thousands at auction. Not bad for something most people don't even look at twice. So now I've got to ask you, do you own a 1966 quarter? Have you ever checked it for errors or condition? Or is it sitting somewhere right now, waiting to be discovered? And if you could find one rare coin in your pocket change, what would it be? That's the thrill of coin collecting. It turns everyday money into a treasure hunt. At the end of the day, the 1966 Washington quarter isn't just another coin. It's a piece of history from a time when the US Mint changed the rules, removed mint marks, and accidentally created opportunities for rare and valuable errors. Keep your eyes open. Check your coins. The details matter more than you think. Top 3. Today we are looking at a quarter that most people spend without thinking, but a few 1977 Washington quarters have sold for hundreds of dollars, and the difference comes down to details so small, most people never notice them. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you exactly what to look for on a 1977 quarter, the rare errors that collectors chase, and how one tiny feature could turn pocket change into real money. Pick up a 1977 Washington quarter and really look at it. On the front, you'll see George Washington facing left, with Liberty above and the date 1977 below. It looks simple, almost too familiar, which is exactly why people ignore it. Now flip it over slowly. You'll see the eagle design, wings spread, holding arrows and olive branches. Around it, United States of America and quarter dollar. This design had been around for decades, and by 1977, people barely paid attention to it anymore, and that's where the opportunity begins, because when a coin becomes normal, mistakes slip through unnoticed. Let's start with mint marks. Unlike 1966, 1977 quarters do have them again. Look closely near Washington's ponytail. You might see a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mark for Philadelphia. Now here's the first twist: San Francisco coins were often made as proof coins. These were specially struck for collectors, with mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. If you ever find a 1977 S-proof coin with deep shine and no scratches, you're already holding something far more collectible than a regular quarter, but don't relax yet, because the real value comes from what shouldn't be there. Let's talk about errors. Some 1977 quarters show double die errors. Look closely at the word Liberty and the date. If you see a slight doubling, almost like a shadow or echo in the letters, that's not damage, that's a minting error. And collectors love it. There are also off-center strikes. Picture a coin where the design is shifted to one side, leaving a blank curve on the edge. The more off-center it is, the more valuable it can become, and then there are clipped planchets. That's when a piece of the coin is literally missing, like a curved bite taken out of it. It looks strange, but it's real, and highly collectible. Now here's something that surprises a lot of people: even without errors, condition alone can make a huge difference. Most 1977 quarters are worn down from circulation. The details are flat. The shine is gone. But if you find one in mint condition, with sharp hair details on Washington and crisp feathers on the eagle, that's a completely different story. Coins like that are hard to find because they were never meant to be saved. They were used, spent, and forgotten. Imagine finding one that looks like it just left the United States Mint yesterday. That's the kind of coin collectors compete for. Now here's a moment to think: how many times have you held a quarter and never really looked at it? That one quick glance could be the difference between spending 25 cents, or discovering something valuable. Let's talk real value so you know exactly what you're looking at. A regular 1977 quarter in circulated condition is still worth face value, about 25 cents. An uncirculated example can sell for $5 to $20 depending on quality. High-grade coins, especially those professionally graded in near-perfect condition, can reach $100 or more. Proof coins from San Francisco can sell for $10 to $50, and deep cameo versions with strong contrast can go even higher. Error coins are where things get exciting. Double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets can sell anywhere from $50 to several $100s, depending on how clear and dramatic the error is, and rare, unusual errors, those can go even higher at auction. So yes, that simple 1977 quarter could be worth a lot more than you think, but only if you slow down and actually see it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you own a 1977 quarter? Have you ever checked it this closely? Or do you think you might have one sitting somewhere right now? And if you could find one rare coin in your pocket change, what would it be? That's what makes this hobby so addictive. Every coin has a story, and some of them are worth a lot more than they look. At the end of the day, the 1977 Washington quarter is easy to overlook, but hidden among millions are coins with sharp condition, proof finishes, and rare mint errors that collectors are actively searching for. Check your change. Look closer. The details matter. Top 4. Today we are looking at a quarter that almost everyone has seen, but very few people realize that some 1980 Washington quarters have sold for hundreds of dollars, and the reason why is hiding in plain sight. Stick with me, because I'm going to show you exactly what makes this coin special, the rare errors collectors are chasing right now, and how one tiny detail can turn an ordinary quarter into something worth real money. Pick up a 1980 Washington quarter and take a good look at it. On the front, you'll see George Washington facing left, with Liberty above and the date 1980 below. It's clean, simple, and honestly, easy to ignore. Now flip it over. You'll see the eagle design, wings spread wide, arrows in its claws, olive branches underneath. United States of America across the top, $quarter at the bottom. It's a design people had already seen for decades, and that's exactly why this coin gets overlooked, because when something looks common, nobody checks it closely. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Look near Washington's ponytail. You'll find a small mint mark. It could be a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, and 1980 was one of those years where mint marks actually matter. Philadelphia coins finally started showing the P again around this time, and collectors pay attention to that. But the real standout is the 1980 S-proof quarter. These proof coins were specially made by the United States Mint. They weren't meant for everyday use. They have mirror-like surfaces, sharp details, and a deep contrast between the design and the background that if you ever see a 1980 quarter that looks almost too perfect, with a glassy shine, don't ignore it. Now let's go deeper, because this is where value really starts to show up. Some 1980 quarters have double die errors. Look closely at Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date. If you see slight doubling, like a shadow effect, that's not wear, that's a minting mistake that it's subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. There are also off-center strikes. Imagine the design shifted to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. The more dramatic the shift, the more collectors want it, and then there are die cracks and cuts. These show up as raised lines or blobs on the coin where the die was damaged. They might look like flaws, but to collectors, they're personality, and value. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Condition can completely change the price of this coin. Most 1980 quarters are worn. The details are soft. The shine is gone. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, with sharp hair details on Washington and crisp eagle feathers, that's rare. Now imagine finding one that looks untouched, like it just came out of the mint decades ago. That's the kind of coin collectors compete for, and here's a quick moment to think, how often do you check your coins beyond just the date? Because the difference between an ordinary coin and a valuable one is often just a few tiny details. Let's talk real numbers so you know what to expect. A regular 1980 quarter in circulated condition is worth face value about 25 cents. An uncirculated coin can sell for $5 to $20, depending on how clean it is. High-grade examples, especially those graded in near perfect condition, can reach $100 or more. Proof coins from San Francisco usually sell for $10 to $40, but deep cameo versions with strong contrast can go higher. Error coins are where things get exciting. Double dies, off-center strikes, and major die breaks can sell anywhere from $50 to several $100s, depending on how visible and rare the error is. And unusual, high-quality error coins, those can go even higher at auction. So yes, that simple 1980 quarter sitting in your drawer could actually be worth something, but only if you know what to look for. Now I want to hear from you. Do you own a 1980 quarter? Have you ever checked it closely for errors or condition? Or do you think you might have one hidden somewhere right now, and if you could find one rare coin in your change, what would it be? That's the excitement of coin collecting. It turns everyday money into a treasure hunt. At the end of the day, the 1980 Washington quarter might look ordinary, but hidden among millions are coins with proof finishes, rare mint errors, and high-grade condition that collectors are actively searching for. Check your coins. Look closer. The details matter more than you think. Top 5. Today we are looking at a quarter that most people wouldn't even pick up off the ground, but some 1984 Washington quarters have quietly sold for hundreds of dollars, and the reason comes down to tiny details almost nobody checks. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you exactly what makes the 1984 quarter worth looking at, the rare errors collectors are hunting, and how one small feature could turn your spare change into something valuable. Pick up a 1984 Washington quarter and really look at it. On the front, you'll see George Washington facing left, with Liberty above and the date 1984 below. It's a design you've seen your whole life, which is exactly why your brain wants to ignore it. Now flip it over slowly. You'll see the eagle, wings stretched wide, arrows in its claws, olive branches below. United States of America across the top, $quarter at the bottom. It feels ordinary, almost too ordinary, and that's where collectors get an edge, because when millions of coins look the same, the few that don't become valuable. Start by checking the mint mark. Look closely near Washington's ponytail. You'll find a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. Here's the first thing most people miss: the 1984 P quarter is actually one of the tougher modern quarters to find in high grades. Not because it's rare in quantity, but because most of them were poorly struck and heavily used. That means finding one with sharp details is much harder than you'd expect. look closely at Washington's hair. Is it flat, or do you see clear, sharp lines? Check the cheek. Is it smooth and clean, or covered in marks? Flip it over and look at the eagle's feathers. Are they crisp, or worn down? That one moment of inspection can change everything. Now let's go deeper, because this is where things get interesting. Some 1984 quarters show double die errors. Look carefully at Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters look slightly doubled or thick, almost like a shadow, that's not damage, that's a minting error, and collectors notice that instantly. There are also off-center strikes. Picture the design shifted to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. The more off-center, the more valuable it can be, but here's one that really gets attention: clipped planchets. That's when a piece of the coin is missing, like a curved chunk taken out of the edge. It looks unusual, but it's real, and collectors love coins that stand out like that. Now let's talk about something that surprises a lot of people: proof coins. The 1984 S-proof quarter was made by the United States Mint specifically for collectors. These coins have mirror-like surfaces and sharp, frosted designs. If you ever see one that looks almost like a tiny mirror, you're not looking at a regular coin, and if it has strong contrast between the design and the background, what collectors call a deep cameo, that's even better. Now imagine this: that you're going through your change. You spot a 1984 quarter. You almost toss it aside, but then you notice something slightly different. Maybe it's sharper. Maybe the shine looks unusual. Maybe the edge isn't perfect. That moment, that pause, that's where value is found. So let me ask you something: when was the last time you actually checked your coins like this? Because most people never do. Let's talk real value so you know what you're looking at. A regular 1984 quarter in circulated condition is worth face value about 25 cents. An uncirculated example can sell for $5 to $15, depending on quality. High-grade 1984 P quarters, especially those with strong strikes, can reach $100 or more. Proof coins from San Francisco usually sell for $10 to $40, but deep cameo examples can go higher. Error coins are where the real jump happens. Double dies, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets can sell anywhere from $50 to several $100 depending on how clear and dramatic the error is. And rare, high-grade error coins, those can push even higher at auction. So yes, that 1984 quarter sitting in your drawer could actually be worth more than you think, but only if you know what to look for. Now I want to hear from you. Do you own a 1984 quarter? Have you ever checked it closely for errors or condition? Or do you think you might have one hiding somewhere right now? And if you could find one rare coin in your change, which one would it be? That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. It turns everyday money into a treasure hunt. At the end of the day, the 1984 Washington quarter might look common, but hidden among millions are coins with sharp strikes, proof finishes, and rare mint errors that collectors are actively searching for. Check your coins. Look closer. The details matter. If you enjoyed this and want more videos like this, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. And don't miss the next video, because the next coin we talk about might already be in your pocket.